Hello and welcome to the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Nina Adio, a social media marketing expert specific to the wedding industry. On this show, I discuss tips to help you DIY your social media, as well as getting the confidence and income to outsource it. Thank you for allowing this episode to come through on your Bluetooth, your car radio, wherever it may be you're listening from today. Now, let's take your wedding business to the next level. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast. Now, if you've been following me on Instagram or if you're a part of my email list, then you may have already heard me talk about the Wedding Summit series, which is happening starting February 20th. And so today I thought I would bring on the woman behind the summit, Margaux Fraise. Margaux is so much more than just the host of this incredible summit that happens twice a year. She is also the owner and creative director at Harmony Creative Studio, which does wedding planning, design, and coordination. You're going to get to hear Margaux talk about the summit, her goals for it in the future, and specifically what wedding professionals like you are going to be able to take away from it. What makes Margaux Summit special is not just that it's virtual. It's not just that it's free to hear these talks, but also that each summit has a different theme. For example, the last summit was the growth series. This one is all about marketing and advertising. And there's going to be something for you at each part of the stage you're at in your wedding business. So I'll have the link to Margaux's information as well as to the Wedding Summit series in the show notes of this episode. You can also head on over to my Instagram. It's linked in there, or anywhere else where you can find me. I'm going to be talking about it and linking it. But let me not waste any time and get to our conversation with Margaux Fraise.
Exactly.
Hello, everybody. I'm here with the lovely Margaux Fraise. Margaux, thank you for being here.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I love podcasts. Love the format. So I'm always happy to just talk.
What are your favorite podcasts to listen to? Doesn't have to be business related. Because I'm a junkie girl. So
well, I mean, not a lot of people know this, but I mean, I have some degrees in political science, so I really like podcasts that are about political stuff, but also fun. So probably the one I'm listening to a lot is called Love It or Leave It. It's with John Lovett, who was one of President Obama's speechwriters. And I think he was also Hillary Clinton's speechwriter on her campaign. But it's more of a comedy political show, which I think is funny. He does it live. So
and that's a funny play on words with the last name and everything.
Yep.
So and political and fun together. I love it.
Yes. Yeah. I listen to a lot of other stuff about like the Supreme Court and stuff like that. That's not as fun, but yeah, that's probably the most fun. And then I mean, too many true crime podcasts to talk about, a lot of other wedding podcasts as well. Yeah. And then I also listen to like podcasts about my favorite shows. So like podcasts about like The White Lotus, or podcasts about Yellow Jackets, or podcasts. I think I was listening to 3 Game of Thrones podcasts. Don't judge me. So yeah, lots of stuff.
Yeah, well, especially with Game of Thrones. I'll just say quickly, I remember my husband tried watching it while we were dating because I was obsessed. And I was like, I know you don't like it. You know how I know? You're willing to talk about anything else right now.
Yeah.
Because when you get obsessed with that show, you need the podcast support. But we are so excited to have you here on the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast to talk about the Wedding Summit series. This is my first time being a speaker at it, but I've been an attendee. I met my current coach, Marla Diane, through
Wonderful
presentation last year, and now we're doing the marketing and advertising business. Now, can you let me know, someone who's never heard of the Wedding Summit series before, how would you describe it, other than the best week ever?
Yeah, I mean, yes, that is how I would describe it. But the Wedding Summit series is an online event for wedding professionals. It is specifically for wedding professionals. It is like if you brought your favorite conference, your Wedding MBA, your TSC, Cater Source, and you just kind of brought it online. But what makes us a little different is that we only focus on one topic at a time so that people can really like hone in. So we've talked about client experience before. We've talked about design before. We started off in February of 2021, so 4 summits, and 2 years ago, we started with a summit all about community, because when people were coming out of the pandemic, that's what people really needed. And this time, from February 20th to 22nd, we are going to be talking all about marketing and advertising, because right now, as people, get back to, I don't want to say normal, but like as normal as things can be at this particular moment, marketing, getting your business out there, getting your ideal client, getting your messaging all straight, your social media, all the things, because there's so many ways to market your advertising or market and advertise your wedding business, that I want to I want to help people get out there right now, because I think that's what people need right now. People are growing concerned about inflation, recession, different things. But I mean, while we're seeing pricing go up a little bit, I'm not seeing wedding vendors pricing to match the wholesale goods. I'm also not seeing people understand that people are still getting married. So you got to get your name out there. You got to get people to know who you are, who you're serving, what you're about, all of that. Now is the time to really get that straight. So that's why we're doing the marketing and advertising edition. And the summit model is we will have 6 to 7 recorded presentations every day. Each of the days is like a subtopic within marketing and advertising. So the first day is going to be all about ideal clients and messaging. Second day is going to be about marketing and ad strategies, stuff like experiential marketing, evergreen funnels, basically everything but social media. And then the third day is all social media, because we have to be realistic here, right? That's what people want to learn about. So, and that's where you're going to be talking as on the third day, all about organic, how to grow your social media organically, which I love, because I think that that's something that people miss because they want to just cut right to ads or cut right to something working really quickly. And I think that following an organic path is something that is most likely to work for the vast majority of people, because I don't know about you, Nina, but like, I'm really excited that Crystal Cherry is going to be talking about Facebook ads, because she did the ads for the summit, because I couldn't do an ad if you paid me to figure it out. Like that's just
my clients ask me for ads. I'm like,
right. But I can figure out organic strategies like commenting and following and, being a good, social media persona and things like that. So I'm really excited for people to see your presentation and everybody's presentation to figure out what is going to work for them to market their wedding business.
That's what I really love about it too. And it was something I was even mentioning in my presentation. Like, if you're looking for ads, it's here. It exists. It's just not in this presentation.
Yeah.
And both, strategies, I think, are something that a wedding professional should have knowledge about and in their back pocket, even if they're going to be outsourcing it.
Right.
So I'm really excited that there's just so much being covered, and I've been seeing the ads, so it's been
good. I'm glad people are seeing them. Could be good. That's something that I let Crystal take care of. But on our VIP implementation day, the summit is free. People can, I'm sure you have a link in show notes or somewhere where people can grab a free ticket. And you can watch the presentations each day for free for 24 hours. And for a lot of people, that's something that's going to work for them. But if you want to learn to implement, if you want, lifetime access to the presentations, if you want to join us for our live panels, then you're going to need to grab one of the upgrades. And one of the upgrades is our VIP day, which involves an implementation day a week after the summit. And one of the most exciting things that I cannot wait for is part of that implementation day. We're going to be hearing from Crystal. She's going to be talking during the summit about Facebook ads. But during the implementation day, she is going to be doing a special case study where she's going to be breaking down the summit Facebook and Instagram ad strategy. Wow. So we're going to tell you if it worked. We're going to tell you how we did it, what we talked about, I cannot wait for people to see that in action, so that, because there's one thing about hearing like, here's what you should do. And then there's something to hearing about like, here's what we did and here's why it worked.
Yes.
But you're also going to hear during that presentation how much I paid for that to work.
Oh,
And how much we paid Crystal to make that work. And you know what I mean? Like it's not something that came free. And it's also not something, I'm very honest, it's not something I could have done on my own, not like an organic strategy. So I'm excited for people to hear that. But I'm also excited for them to hear exactly what's involved in that, because I think people are like, I'm just going to throw up an ad and it's going to be fine. And I'm like, I tried that 6 years ago. It did not work.
Yes, you can't just boost. You can't. It's tempting. It's lit up. It's there. Right. But there is so much more to it. And I think what's really great about that VIP experience and getting to see that is, even if your intention is to outsource ads, you don't know if what they're suggesting you spend is right. You don't know if what they're doing is right. So you're getting a glimpse of what a wedding professional paid another wedding professional to do, and if it worked. So that's really incredible.
Yeah, I was really excited to add that. And as part of that day, there will be more, additional high-level trainings for people. We're going to have a session all about LinkedIn, which is like really high level.
Yes, I love LinkedIn.
Marketing. And then we're going to have implementation sessions to show you how to implement what you've learned during the summit. So I'm really excited for that. But that is an upgrade. That's something that's separate from the free summit. But don't get freaked out. You don't have to remember anything I just said. If you go to the link in the show notes and grab the free ticket, it'll tell you about it later if you want to get it.
So. Terrific. And how long will people have to upgrade their ticket? Let's say they just do the free and they're listening that day while working and they're like, wait, I need to listen to this again and again and again.
Yeah. I mean, if you grab just the free ticket, you'll have until about a week after the summit. I mean, you'll get an email. I mean, I did a lot of work, transitioning our email over to something called ConvertKit, because it specifically does a lot more automations and tagging. So the system knows if you've purchased something, and it won't send you an email asking you to purchase something. Like, it's smart like that.
Yeah.
But if you just came for the live ticket, afterwards you get an email that says, do you want to upgrade? Because it knows that you haven't. So it'll give you the opportunity to do that. So all of that is kind of, it runs on its own. So it'll be about a week. If you get the live ticket, which is kind of our lower tier product, to come and watch all of the live panels. We're going to have panels on marketing in a recession. We're going to have panels on ad budgets, how much you should be spending. We're going to have panels on, TikTok and Pinterest. We're going to have a lot of great live panels, but putting those together is a lot of work for me. So that's part of the live ticket. When you get the live ticket, you also get a 30-day rewatch, so that you don't have to do it within 24 hours. But at the end of that 30 days, if you haven't upgraded to one of the lifetime access products, then you'll get an email that says, do you want to upgrade? So there will be no opportunities lost for you to get lifetime access, to get the VIP, all of that. And then at any time, if you're not feeling it, you can just opt out.
Yeah. So, and then last thing I want to ask about that is, when somebody gets lifetime access, where is it a website where they'll have all the videos, or how are they able to take in that content?
Yeah, everything is run off of Kajabi. You may have purchased a course on Kajabi from myself or another educator. It is a platform like Teachable or, anything like that. Instacart. Not Instacart. That's not right. Instacart is something that does shopping for you. There's so many ones. So that's not right. Yeah, but there's something, but like Teachable or something like that. It's a platform. You log in and then it's just there forever. And then I say lifetime access because if at some point I decide that I'm not going to use Teachable or whatever, I have a plan to put it on a Dropbox so you could download it within a certain amount of time. So you'll just have it. But it'll be there. I've paid them for the next 5 years at least. So it's not going anywhere.
It'll be there until Facebook changes their ads.
Yeah, it'll be there. It'll be there for a long time. And then the reason that I do that is so that it's kind of like a little mini, resource library. You can go back to it whenever it may become whenever it may become relevant for you. So let's say right now you are in your first or second year of business, and the things that are going to be most relevant for you are organic marketing, learning your messaging, figuring out what your ideal client is. Those are the things that are relevant right now. And then you come back 2 years from now And even though Facebook may have changed some things, the core strategies are still going to be the same. Funnel strategy is still going to be the same. You come back and you watch some more of those advanced presentations when they are relevant for you. So that's why lifetime access is always amazing. People tell me that they purchase lifetime access for like our design summit, which was in August of 2021. So, 2 years ago, and they'll tell me that they look back at that all the time, or they'll tell me, oh, I'm pulling out that sheet that has all of the linen links on it. And that's my sheet that I use for everything. Like just stuff like that I hear all the time, which makes me feel amazing because people are getting real value for years and years out of the content. And that's kind of what I had in mind. So I'm glad to see that playing itself out.
Yeah, that does remind me because I did want to ask what made you start this? So I think you said you started February 2021, correct?
Yes. Well, what started it was I was not doing anything else. I mean, that's like the bottom line. Like so I'm in Los Angeles, which has some of the which had some of the most restrictive COVID, government restrictions, protocols. Like we could not do anything for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Like nothing. So in the summer and early fall of 2020, all of my couples had rescheduled again to the next year. So I was facing literally 6 months before I could even start to do anything because there was nothing to be done. No one was inquiring, no one was having events. It was kind of like this really crazy, like dead period. So I had attended some summits. I had attended one of the summits from my friend Heidi Thompson, who runs the Book More Weddings Summit. Heidi sent out a hilarious email the other day where she was like, I promise I don't hate her. And it was about me.
I loved that. I loved that.
Can I just tell you how meta that was? It was so meta because I was in the car with my father because I went out there and was helping them with doing some stuff. And I was looking at it and we had stopped and we were like getting some food. So we're in a line. So we're in the car, but we were stopped. And he looks over and he's like, what is that? And I'm like, it's an email about me. It's very meta. But what she was saying was that even though we both host wedding summits, we try to, make sure that we're not stepping on each other's toes. We try to make sure we're separating content. We try to make sure that it's beneficial. It's mutually beneficial, as opposed to like, like hating each other, because that doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help either one of us. It doesn't help the audience. Exactly. And so I think that a lot of people just assume that we like are maybe frenemies at best, but like maybe not like each other, but that's not really the case. Heidi is doing one of the pre-party sessions for the summit, which is going to be from February 13th through the 15th. I asked a couple of educators specifically to do their presentations live and first, because they were like the building blocks that I think people will need. So if you grab your free ticket, you'll get the information from that. You can get in our summit Facebook group and listen to those free the week before the summit. And that's just kind of what I've been doing. So that first summit back in February was about community. And I've maintained that as one of the core values of the summit, of my education brand in general, because it doesn't take much to be a good community member. And you get so much back for it, for being a good community member. If Heidi and I weren't friendly, then we may schedule our summits at the same time without realizing them. And that's bad for me. That's bad for her. It's also bad for everyone out there who may want to attend both of them, because they're both free summits. You could come and attend both of them. It doesn't do us any good to not be good community members. So we've tried to take that through as a through line for all of our summits. But yeah. Basically, it started out of boredom. I wasn't sure if it would work, and I just loved hosting the first summit, and we got such a great response, and people really loved the format, loved the education. They really liked that we were focusing on like one thing at a time, because people go, as much as people love going to in-person conferences, and I do too. Wedding MBA is one of my favorite weeks of the year. It is very overwhelming. There is a lot of stuff happening. So I was like, well, if I'm going to take something online and I'm going to make it like a mini version, a mini online version, what's the one difference that I want to have? I want to make it about one thing at a time so people can really concentrate. So that's what we did.
Would you ever want to do something in person, Margaux?
Well, I mean, I'm ruminating on it. I'm thinking on it. I definitely would not want to do something on the scale of Wedding MBA, because I give Shannon a lot of credit, because that is a lot. That is a lot, a lot. But I think there's some value in maybe having some smaller workshops or a smaller conference or something that still keeps that one subject at a time, thing. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm ruminating on it. I'm trying to figure out the financials of what that would look like, because it is far more expensive to do something in person than it is online.
Wow.
And the online summit does have hard costs in and of itself,
Especially with the level of standard you have for it. This is a very organized, professional summit.
Right. So it's me trying to figure out if that's even possible in a real world setting. I think that it is. I'm hoping to be able to announce that soon or later or whatever, but right now I'm still in the process of figuring it out.
So one thing you mentioned, and kind of the last point I want to bring up today, is you're talking about community as well as the live presentations being in the Facebook group. And so I wanted to talk about that Facebook group, because I think it's such a great networking opportunity. And people always say, get in the room, or you belong in the room with these people. And this is your first opportunity, I think, to really get in there and not only get to talk with industry experts, but other fellow industry members. So do you mind talking a bit about that Facebook group and some of the things you've seen just from that alone?
Yeah, I mean, we prioritize community and people getting together in the summit group, so much so that we have, a thread that's like finding an accountability buddy. We have threads where we'll start conversations with our speakers or about other topics, and we encourage conversation. I tell people, introduce yourself. There's not a lot of groups out there that will let you make an introductory post about yourself. We encourage that in our summit. Not a lot of people take me up on that. They feel kind of weird at this point, but I'm like, introduce yourself, tell people. So yes, it is interesting how there are some summits that I've been to, not within the wedding industry, but other industries, where they'll have the group as a pop-up, and then they'll close it after the summit. And that always seemed kind of weird to me. So our summit group specifically, I keep re-engaged between each summits. We have some co-working sessions that we do. We have some, sessions in there every month. We have, I try to do things a couple months ago, I sent out an email where I was like, stop what you're doing right now and go and cut and paste all of your reviews, if you haven't before, and post your best review inside the Summit Facebook group and share it, So stuff like that, where it's trying to keep people re-engaged and trying to keep the community together, which I think has been really beneficial, because when the summit comes around, it's like you're seeing old friends or you're meeting new people. There are lots of people who have met through the summit. You were saying you found your mentor during the summit, or your coach during the summit. There's been a lot of people that have been like, I found someone in my own market I didn't even know was there, and I had to go to the summit and find them, So there is a ton of opportunity for that. So I really encourage. It's really weird, because over the 4 summits that we've had over 10,000 people sign up for the free ticket. And at any given time, there's only been about 3,000 in the summit Facebook group, which I always find super interesting, that people would sign up for the free ticket and not get in the Facebook group, because it's where a lot of the added free benefit is, just being in there. And I know that people are like, I'm in so many Facebook groups, I'm in this, I'm in that. I'm like, well, you only concentrate it maybe for the 5 days that are in the summit, and then turn your notifications off afterwards. I'm not offended, but for the days that the summit is on, get in there and really meet people, ask the speakers questions, find answers, watch stuff,
really
all the kind
get personalized help if you have the guts to ask the question. Because I know it can feel hard, but it's, like Margaux said, a very friendly atmosphere. And sometimes you may be a part of other groups for your location, but maybe you don't want to ask about ad cost or things that other people in your direct market are going to see. So this is a great safe place where you can ask those questions. And so when people sign up at the link in the show notes, they'll get an email? Will that have the Facebook link in there and everything?
Absolutely. Yeah. So you sign up for the free ticket. two things will happen. You'll automatically get all of the emails with the information direct to your inbox. So that means like the first one will have information, how to join the Facebook group, all of that. But then you'll automatically every day get an email that's like, here are the links to the presentations. Here's what we're doing today. All of that. You'll automatically get that as well. And then the second part of that is that after you get your free ticket, then you'll be offered all of these upgrades and things that I've been speaking about if you want to get them, or you can just close that page and not think about it.
Yeah, you got the freedom. And at the very least, I say play the videos, the live day with your free ticket while working. Let that be your podcast for the week. Just put the podcast on hold for a week. Even mine.
I do want to tell people, we do try to make them concise. I ask the speakers to aim for 20 to 25 minutes.
Perfect.
Some of them cannot be contained, and you don't want them to be contained. Your Terikas of the world, you don't want them to be contained to 20 minutes. So some of them are like half an hour, but they're not 40, 45, an hour long. So I did want to put that in because people are like, oh, that's a lot of, because the social media day has like 7 presentations, and they're like, oh, that's a lot of content. I'm like, but they're bite-sized for the most part.
So. It's really, and it's walking you through. So it's going to be a great experience. And I know you're busy going on everybody's channel at the summit today. So really quickly, where can everybody find you? I'll put it in the show notes as well, but if they want to follow along with your journey.
Yeah, I mean, probably the biggest thing is, the summit Instagram is at Wedding Summit Series, and that's one of the things. Or you can always find me on Instagram at Harmony Creative if you want to like follow me personally. But those are the places that I usually hang out at. I use Facebook for like groups mostly, but Instagram, I'm there using it for all the organic stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah. All right. Terrific. Thank you so much for your time on a
Thank you.
week, Margaux.
How awesome was that, guys? Short and sweet chatting with Margaux. Don't forget, you can grab your free ticket to the Wedding Summit Series down below. And be sure to send me a message on Instagram and let me know, other than my topic, of course, who else you are most looking forward to hearing from. I know everyone says when Tarek is on, it's like the Beyonce of the wedding industry. So I wonder if that's going to be on the top of your list, or maybe friend to the podcast, Carissa Cruzy. She's been on the podcast before. She and I did the Engage to Engagement webinar. So you're going to want to make sure you check out Carissa too. Thanks for being here, guys. And don't forget, you can find me at I Do Wedding Marketing on my website, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. If you enjoyed this podcast, it would mean so much to me if you could leave a review. It helps other wedding professionals like you to be able to find this podcast. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.